Welcome back to the channel where we are building a video game from scratch using Love2d and Lua. We're working on some falling into pits today, so let's make that work. We've got this true AABB collision right here for our player against any pit. Now any pit we pull from the sprite in the map, we get into a pit object, into a pits table, into our scene here. So if we, or into our map actually. So if we look at our map, we've got a .pits, and we're inheriting the .pits from our data downloader. So any tile ID with the pit ID, we're inserting into our map's own .pits. So everything in a .pits is going to be an instantiation of a pit class. So we need to do some stuff based on this collision. So I'm thinking if in our pit here, we could do something. I guess we'd have to do an update function. So like if all the update function for the pit is doing is returning if we're colliding with it or not, then in our play state, we can say in our play states update, hey, if we're colliding with any pits, then take that pit's X and Y and take our player's X and Y and tween them so that they get closer and closer, as if the pit, as if you're being pulled into the pit. So if you're above the pit, it'd pull you down. If you're below the pit, it'd pull you up. So it kind of pulls you into the center of the pit. Then we'll have to have a separate collision detection for like if you're really in the pit, not just an AABB, if your squares are anywhere touching, but if you're like literally in the pit, then we can trigger the falling. So I think maybe not here in our map class or pit class, but maybe in our map class. We'd want to do some pit logic. So yeah, let's do this. Let's see. What are we doing here? Okay. So all we're doing here is assigning a, I don't get why we're flushing is pit collide to false here, but I guess if we turn this off, I'm curious if we stop rendering the squares, but I don't think we need this. Yeah. Sweet. So we'll get rid of that, and then let's do our, we need to loop through our pit, so we'll do for key value in pairs self.pits. So this will loop through all of our pits, and what we're going to do when we loop through it is check our player's X and Y against each pit's X and Y, but only if we're colliding. So first thing we're going to do is see if we're colliding. So we're going to see if the value in the pits, if that's values dot collide is true, then we're going to go ahead and do something, and that something is gradually move the player's X to be the pit's X, and gradually move the player's Y to be the pit's Y. So we do have a function to kind of do this. I'm not too fluent in how it works exactly. We have to check out a way we used it in the past. But let's give it a shot. If v collide, and you know what, maybe just what we'll do, I'm just gonna say test pits gets true if this collides, and then else false, just because I want to make sure I'm using this v value correctly. So we can just print up this value here and make sure that that is responding appropriately. So in our right here, we can just print up that value and make sure it's doing something. Love.graphics.print, and we're gonna print up our test pits boolean just on the screen here, just at 0, 0, whatever. We just want to see it go true and false and make sure love.graphics.print test pits. Okay, did I mess it up? Test pits should be a global, test pits should be working, and then I think this needs a string, so we have to convert it to a string and then we can print it. So that is a boolean, so we have to convert it. Okay. See, we're not getting, it's not getting to true. It doesn't go to nil, so we are at least doing it to false, but ideally we have it test pits gets false. Okay, and this is weird because we've got, yeah, you know what we should do? You know what, I'm gonna say that this is correct. The issue is we're cycling through multiple pits, so if we're not colliding with one, by the time it collides with the second one, the value is being overwritten, so this isn't a great way to test it. So let's just go ahead and try to do something like player X, and we can't just touch the player's X. We're in the map. Our map, I would think, doesn't have an access to the player. It does not. But we do have a global access to the player. So what we can do is go to our scene view that is holding our player. Now we kind of had to do this because our, you know, there's layers to our game. There's like a ground level layer, there's an above ground layer, and then there's a player, and then there's stuff that goes on top of the player. And if you walk screens, the maps change, but the player doesn't scroll off with the map. So the player exists in the scene, whereas the scene holds the references to the maps, renders those first, then renders the player on top, and treats them kind of different. So we have it pulled out a little separately. So we have to go into self.player.x, and what we're gonna do is just say player X gets 0 if we collide with a pit, just so we can see if we're moving our player if we collide with a pit, and it doesn't seem to be working. So this might be wrong. For key in pairs value self pits. Yeah. We are doing this for key value in pits. If the pit is collide, this is bad. Okay, let me see the render of our actual pit. If self.collide, then go ahead and render that. Okay. So yeah, the pit does have a self.collide. And then we're able to, yeah, we're able to render each individual pit by using the value in the pairs of self pits and then rendering it. So I'm not exactly sure what we're missing here, unless we, I think our scene doesn't have direct reference to the player. It might be current map. Well, no, I don't know. Who wrote this code? Who did this? Wasn't me. Let's go to our play state or our scene. No, yeah, let's go to our scene and see if our scene has got a self.player. It does. Okay. And then the player has an X and Y. Okay. So I don't see why we weren't able to switch it. What up, Magnetonics? How's it going? Hey, Sasquatch. Thanks for stopping by. Good to see you guys. We're having stream issues, connectivity issues. I don't know what's up. It's not the CPU cooler, but it's just my internet that just craps out. We seem to be stable since I reset the router, but yeah, no dropped frames in 10 minutes, so that's good. Yeah, we're trying to see why come scene view player X getting 0 is just not doing anything. And we're asking if the value in the pairs of self pits collide is true. Yeah. Because we know the collide is true for any pit when we walk there because it turns red. So we know that's true, so this should be getting called. So our self.player and our scene view globally should be able to be reassigned here, but it is just not working for whatever reason. So let's see if we try to switch it again. Okay. Yeah, we're not able to swap our player position. So how come we can't just modify this straight up? Scene view.player. Yeah, man. I mean, we should. Yeah, we're able to see how, like, if we collide right here with an entity, we're able to say scene view.player.y gets a different value. So we should be able to say scene view.player.x gets tweened towards the center of the pit. But the first step is just getting any player movement on collision, but that is just not the case. Maybe it's really sad when you like I'm legit like lost in my own code. It's like, dude, I did this and I'm like, what the hell's going on here? Who did this? Let's just see if we can modify our player X by some amount of value on a collision with a self.pits. We got to be messing up the self.pits loop here. Self.pits for key value and pair self.pits. Now we do have a self.pits right here and it gets assigned. Yeah, okay. So what's going on? This is exactly the same thing we're doing for key value and pairs self.pits. Go ahead and render each pit. That's how we're able to make it red upon a collision. If we leave that out, the render function never gets called, so we don't turn red. So we know that we're actually doing this like the same way we're trying to do. We're able to access the dot collides in the field, but the render function is dependent on the collides being true. Oh, and you know what? Is it dot collides and not dot collide? Is that where I messed up? Let's see in our pit. Is it really like that? It's collide with no S. And then over here, yeah, collide no S. Okay. Maybe what we can do, let's just try something different so we don't drive ourselves crazy. Let's go into our self.pits and we'll go into the index of whatever pit we are at. So right there, if that pits dot collide is true, then we're going to go ahead and move our player by 20 pixels to the right. Let's try that. Still not working. Okay, yeah, we should be able to say V collide right here. All right, I mean, sceneview.player.x, that should be right. Let's just print up sceneview.player.x and make sure that that is a legit value that we can even manipulate. So we'll say up here, sceneview.player.x. We'll print it up at the top. Yeah, we definitely have that value. So we should be able to modify that value if something is true. So I don't know why it's not working. This is not the hard part, for sure. Yeah, I mean, that's right. I'm just going to delete it, try it again, and maybe I just did it bad. For key value in pairs of our self.pits, that should cycle through each pit object. Let's, not then, but do. And then we're going to say, yeah, if the pit in this table of pits dot collide is true, then we're going to do something special. And that special we're going to do is just say that our player's X is going to be assigned to 0. and that doesn't work. Now, it might be messing up because there's some collision detection for any non-collidable objects. So actually, I didn't think about that. If we print up, but you know, we were just trying to modify it by plus 10 to the right, and that wasn't working either. So let's just say our x is 63 here, so let's just make it 73 if we collide with a pit, and just see if we can change that. Self.pits, and player's gonna be 73 instead of 63, and it's still 63. So what's going on? It's got to be wrong here, or in this loop here, but we're doing exactly this for key value in pairs pits. That's exactly how we're rendering this stuff. For key value in pairs self.pits do, that's exactly what we're doing. Then we have access to the value. So yeah, at this point I feel a little insane. What do we do different? We could just try to do it in the pit class and see where that takes us, because this is just not working. I don't know why it's not working, but we'll go here. Let's just say, you know, if any pit is true, then we're just gonna say that our scene view dot player X position is just gonna get modified by plus 10. That's all we're gonna try to do here. So 63 should become 73, which becomes 83 because it detected multiple collisions. So, hey, look at that. That almost worked. The only thing I could think of that we did wrong was that our code was not in the map update. It was in the map init. So maybe that's where we messed up. Did we just delete it? Yeah, the only thing I'm thinking of is I might have just not done it in the update function, like a dummy. Let's try it right here. So we're gonna say if any given pit collide is true, then we're gonna do something like move our player's X to be just anything different. So we're gonna just be able to see that. Plus 10, let's just do that. And then let's go back to our pit, and we will just get rid of that. Let's comment it out, because maybe I'm wrong again on this. So let's see. In our map, at the end of our update function, we're going ahead, cycling through our pits, and we're moving our X position if we're colliding with any pit. Okay, that's working now. So our issue was we were in the init instead of the update, so didn't have new information about the collision because we weren't updating it. So we have this, but we don't want to just move it by X. We want to tween the X values to be more equal to the pit's X values, and the pit's and the player's Y values to be more equal to the pit's Y values. So we do have an example of us pulling this off with the it's not timer, it's tween. We're using a library to tween some values here, and it's like timer.tween or something. We do this, yeah, right here. Okay, so this is how we're doing it for this. It takes in a value, and then it takes in what? A table of, shoot, I don't know how this is working. It's like basically we're saying that we're shifting our, like by putting it in a table like this, we're saying, hey, take our self value as a reference and then extract its camera X and camera Y from the self, and then tween it to equal the shift X and the shift Y after a certain amount of time. But I'm not seeing where we're doing this certain amount of time. Because the scene transitions a little differently. We have functions to begin shifting and finish shifting. Yeah, I'm going to pull up the documentation for this timer.tween from the knife library so we can see how to use this. Okay. Okay, here we go. Create some objects with some values to tween. We can say vehicle has a fuel and a position. Timer.tween. So look, 10 seconds. So the first argument is how much time it takes to move the position. So we can have maybe like a 2-second tween time. 2 or 3 second timer tween. What am I saying? It takes maybe 2 or 3 seconds to get tweened to the right value, and then we have to say what? The vehicle's fuel gets tweened to 0 over this time. Its position gets tweened to 100 over this time. Its overlay. So this is what I'm talking about. Like we need to set our player's X to tween to the pit's X, and also the player's Y to tween to the hole's Y over the course of maybe 3 seconds. So if we can get any tweening working for that, that would be pretty sweet. So the weird thing is it kind of does timer.tween function first argument, and then it takes in a table. So let's just get that kind of built out, and then we'll see if we can get any of that to be working. So let's go to our map. And right here, instead of doing this, we want to do a timer.tween. I think we would need to... Actually, it's a global import for this library, so we should have access right here. So we're going to say, we're going to give it a parentheses. Let's first give it 3 seconds. And then we're going to do a table and make sure we close the function. Now, what we're trying to do is take our scene views player X position, and we're trying to set it equal to the value of the pit that we are colliding with. So the pit is actually V, and the X position is the X. I don't like that it's just V.X, but something like this. Let's see what happens. Local target a number value. So maybe we just didn't need the curly braces. Let's look at that example again. Curly braces. And then square brackets. So it does have an assignment here other than this one. Well, yeah, fuel gets 0. So do I say player? No. Player X? No. I don't know what to do here. Vehicle position gets X equals 100. So, ooh, what would we assign here? Now, what X? What X is here? Oh, this... Okay, so the vehicle has a fuel and an X. So we're saying that the fuel of the vehicle gets tweened to that value. So where are we messing up here? Our player X does have an X that we want to shift it to. I'm a little lost. I mean, let's see in our other usages of it. Timer.tween. Yeah, we give it. Yeah, we do an assignment thing here too. So the X here. Okay, so we need to give which value gets tweened to it, and the value we want tweened to it is the player's X. So we should be able to say X gets the v.x. Well, let's see. Oh my gosh. Well, and now we're stuck. We're stuck. Oh lordy. Oh lordy. Okay. If we collide and then I don't know. Let's try to do it if we go to our spawn here and spawn. One issue with our spawn is that we're spawning inside a collision for the pit, so let's just not do that, and we'll see what happens to our X position when we trigger a collision here with a pit. It does tween our X value. Look at that. It did trigger us to go in there, and then it looks like it's wanting to do more. Let's see if we go into the pit that allows us to go on the other side of it. If we go to this other pit down here, we can see how this one treats us. So let's see. X is getting tweened over 3 seconds, and then it's doing some manual reassignment of our X position, but let's try to fix this out. Like, we have to say, since we're always colliding, we're always going to be tweening, and we need this to end at some point. So if our values get to be, you know, I guess we would need to trigger an actual fall, and if the player's not falling, go ahead and tween it. If we are falling, don't tween it, right? So let's try to do this where we also tween our Y position, and then what we'll do, we'll say, you know, v.y. The pit's Y is what we want our player Y to be equal to over 3 seconds time. So that should get us, we need a comma here. Okay, let's do it. And then we need to only tween if we're not triggered as a fall already. So let's try it here, and we'll go from the bottom right, so it should tween us up and to the left, right, once we start colliding. It's not tweening the X. Now it's just, oh god, now we're just tweening the Y. How do we do more than one value here? Okay, so here what we can do, wait. I don't know why this doesn't work. Yeah, now we're just tweening our Y and not our X. We'll have to pull this out separately, I think. If we comment this out, we just tween our X. So I guess let's just try to... Okay. Okay, so let's add a, instead of just triggering the fall, let's do something here where if we're colliding, we'll do the tween and everything, but then we'll also check if our player's X and our pit's X is within 3 pixels. And if we're within 3 pixels of both the X and the Y, then we'll trigger a player to be falling. And if a player is falling, that's when we'll change the animation to fall, instead of right now, which is we're just doing it every 3 seconds. So let's go to where we're doing this change animation. Okay, so this is just in our player idle state. Yeah, we don't want to do this. So let's not do this here. Yeah, we'll just comment this out real quick. So all we have to do is go into our player object and run the change animation to falling in order to trigger that. So what we're gonna do is say here in the collide, I keep doing that. We can say if the pit's X is within 3, so like maybe we can say we subtract the difference of our player's X and our pit's X, we subtract those and then we take the absolute value, and if the absolute value of that difference is smaller than 3, then we want to go ahead and go into our player entity and run the change animation to be equal to fall. And then what I want to do is go into our pit class and we'll turn off the rendering for the squares so that we can just not see red and see if we actually trigger a fall if we're within 3 pixels of a difference between a pit's origin point. Okay, that's okay. We're messing up in a player idle state when we turn that off. Player idle state. What line did it not like? .44 index local anim nil value on 44 player idle state. So we didn't have an anim texture. So I must have messed up the change animation to fall. Oh, it's falling, not fall. So let's do that. I've got a lot of stuff. Okay, not fall, but falling. That should do it. So let's see. And we'll try to tween the opposite direction. We'll go to the second pit here. Oh, I got caught. Look at that, though. Hey, look at that. That's sweet. Yeah. But that's cool. Like, it pulled him into the pit, dropped him. That's pretty sweet. Try the other way. Nice. That's looking sweet. So what we need to do, we could have like a .dead, and once the animation for falling has played at least once, then we make our player dead, and if our player's dead, we don't render or whatever. In the past, I've made a graveyard because Lua really doesn't like when anything doesn't exist, so you need to give it some value. So, hey, thank you for the follow, Skapuka. I appreciate that. Lua doesn't like not having values associated, so we can't just like delete our player that easily. Hey, thank you for the follow, everyone. I appreciate that. I guess the thing is, let's just try to trigger a player field called dead. And once we fall in the hole and this falling animation has played once, we will call it you know, player dead gets true. And if player dead gets true, let's just respawn our player to somewhere. So that, and then set it to idle. So let's see if we can do that, because then, I mean, we do, wow, okay, yeah, okay, great, okay, wow, yeah, let's do something like that. So we've got a player class in here. Cool. Now we need, oh, look at us, we have a .dead. Do we use it anywhere? Oh, we do. we already do it for .dead. Okay, we have a sound for it even, but dead is only if we lose all our health. So that's like dead. So maybe dead isn't the thing we're looking for. Maybe we have to do something like if fallen into a pit. Dot is fallen into a pit. Dot fallen. And if it's dot fallen, what we'll do is we will reset our position to. And I think the way to do this is every 3 seconds we just save our position, our character's X and Y position, and every 3 seconds we update it to be its, you know, every 3 seconds we get its position from 3 seconds ago, and then when we respawn, we respawn it to where the player used to be 3 seconds ago, so that we know it's a valid X and Y position, because every map has different collidable map objects. So as long as we kind of treat it like that, we should have only legal respawn points to come back to. Oh, nice. Hey, cool. So you're going to be getting some new pixel art here, Magnetonics? Okay, we still have to figure out how to tween both values though, right? Because that will never trigger a fall. Well, it does actually, because yeah, we have to, let's figure that out first. Let's get the tweening Y position also working, and then we'll worry about the other stuff. So I don't know. Let's do it here where we say also Y gets V dot Y. That is weird, but let's see if that works. So we're looking for it to tween our Y value too. Yes, that's sweet. Check that out. He's working on sketches for the next batch of monsters. Dude, that's awesome. I am so happy with how this is coming out. Like, we should be able to tween any value. Yeah, we just be pulled into the center of the pit, and then we get pulled. So let's turn our pit sensitivity down to 2. And we probably shouldn't put a magic number in here. We should probably put, yeah, pit's looking sweet starting today. Let's find our constants. Yeah, we'll add in a value for, I don't know what we'll call it. Let's just call it pit proximity fall. I don't know. Pit proximity fall. Does that make any sense? We'll set it to 2, and then we'll do a pit proximity fall here. So the proximity is like 2 pixels, right? If we're within 2 pixels of the pit's proximity, go ahead, trigger our falling. And then I want to try the tween from the bottom. So we'll see if we can trigger it from here. So if we walk into a pit, it'll start pulling us in. Now it is, yeah, okay. We might want to do it both with our Y value and our X value. Right here, we can check our, I don't know if this does make a difference. We can try though. Because, yeah, I think it would make a difference actually. So we want to also take the absolute value of our player's Y position. And if that is also smaller than a proximity fall of 2 pixels, then we want to trigger our fall animation. Now, the fall animation doesn't actually do anything to our player other than change its animation. So we do need to, like, stop, cease it from being able to be collided with enemies. We need to yeah, dude, hey, take it easy. Go get some rest. Get some away from screen time for sure. Thanks for stopping in, dude. I always appreciate you popping in and saying what's up. Okay. We should only trigger the fall if we're within a given 4 pixel difference between the... So like we're going to try to make the biggest tween possible and make sure we don't fall prematurely. That's looking a lot better. Wow, that looks freaking great. That looks great. And then, it's probably not a tween of 3 seconds. It's probably closer to 2. But we will tweak that a little later. Now, can we fight the tween and get out of the hole? Because we should be able to fight it once we trigger it. We should be able to walk out of it, which right now we are not able to. So like maybe it's the override right here, right? Like we're tweening the values, so the X position is getting updated before our player's X position, or after our player's X position. So maybe if this was before, we might be able to fight the gravity, but I don't exactly know. Let's just try to put it up at the top of our update function and see if that makes any difference. Thanks Magnetonics, I appreciate you. Oh, I was supposed to test. Oh, we can fight it. We can fight it now. But, we're still... Let's see if we can actually get out of it, because we might have to slow in. We might have to slow down. I don't know. Let's see. Oh, we can't fight it. We can prevent us from falling in, but we can't fight it. So that did do something different, but it's not what we need. It's almost like we need it. It's almost like if we're colliding with a pit, we need a boost. We need to boost our DX and DY to counteract what we're doing. I don't know if that's the right move though. How would we overwrite the tween? Maybe if let's try something here. Like maybe if we go... What am I even looking for? I'm looking for the timer tween. Right here. So look, what if we would do something like only if input list is 0, just as a test, then go ahead and tween. So if we're not holding any inputs, go ahead and tween. So like, let's see if that'll allow us to fight gravity. What are you meant at? Map 169? Let's see. Yeah, that's not working. Oh, input list is never equal to 0, but we have to do if the number of input lists is 0. Let's see that. Shit. I can't fight it. Yeah, my only kind of idea right now is to just give us a... Nah, it doesn't matter what our DX is. It'll pull us in anyway. The tween, we need to figure out how to overwrite this tween based on input, but we can't... We tried doing this. If input list is 0... Yeah. Then go ahead and tween it. So if we never let go of in input, when we walk into a pit, what happens? Nothing. So yeah, we are able to bypass it in that case, but once it starts, we get pulled and we can't fight it. Oh, we actually just beat it. We are able to beat it. Oh my goodness. Let's see, that actually might work. Like, we were like, you know, we have to tweak the, you know, maybe a little bit faster of a tween. Oh, but he can't even barely beat it. He can barely beat it. But it's like, oh shit. That's kind of cool. I like that. It's like you have to really fight it if you get knocked in there. Yeah, let's see if we speed it up a bit. What happens here? I think it'll make it unbeatable if we speed up the tween there. If we fall a bit faster, I think it'll be unbeatable. Oh shit. Really killed us. Because yeah, we want it to be, and in Link's Awakening it is like, you can't for sure save yourself every time. Oh my gosh, but yeah, oh my gosh. You know, it's fun this way, because I'm like, I don't know what it takes to save myself, but I can save myself if you walk out. So, oh my Jesus, okay. It's kind of fun this way. Because like you feel it pulling and you feel that your directions aren't getting you out. But if you keep holding the direction, it will pull you out. And if you let go, it kills you. So this does kind of work. I don't know if this is the right move though. But it does allow us to, it allows us to escape it. As long as you don't, like if you let go of everything, it'll kill you for sure. I feel like it needs to be a bit faster even, like 1.5 or 1 even. Let's see. This is really sweet. Oh, yep. Okay, dude, this is it. This is the sweet spot, I think. Oh my god, yeah. Get out of here. Okay, let's try this bottom one. This is actually like really fun. Okay, yep. You can fight it. And it feels like a gravity suck. Like, oh my god. This is awesome, yeah. And then if you let go, kills you. So let's work on this last XY position from like 3 seconds ago. And then once we've fallen, let's reset our X position and our animation to be idle plus the last direction plus maybe flashing so we get the red, and then we'll deduct our heart, and then we'll be able to fall in pits. And oh yeah, see, like that one, that shouldn't be able to happen because we should be moved once we fall. So let's try to fix that. Where is the render that we're doing? Is this in the map? Yeah, right here. And I'm just gonna kill that. I think what we want to do is have a global variable that is just the player's X and Y, a global table of the player's X and Y from 3 seconds ago. And every 3 seconds, update that value, and then we'll update our position to that value. So let's just try to get that working. Let's go to our play state or scene. Probably our scene, maybe. You know what? Why not play state? I don't know. It's hard for me to imagine how this game gets much bigger because I haven't built anything bigger than this before, so it's kind of hard to visualize this, but we can say last, what would we call it? Last, I guess we could save it. We could save it in the players, in the player class, actually. We should probably do that. What up, K-Tron, dude? We seem to be working. Our CPU temps are stable. Yesterday I had an hour-and-a-half stream, no issues. I crashed stream about 12 times when I started today, but since I restarted my router, it's been smooth. So maybe just part of the ritual before I start streaming, I just restart the router. I don't know. But let's go ahead and go to our player class, and we'll go ahead and give ourselves a new table for our player. And the new table will hold 2 values. It'll be called last positions, or we can call it like checkpoint positions or something. I don't know. And it's going to be a table of 2 values, and it's going to be a value that is called X. We'll initialize it to 0, and a Y, and we'll initialize it to 0. So we should be able to go into our checkpoint positions every 3 seconds and update it. So what we'll do is we'll say, upon update, we can do delta time. Now we need like a counter. We can do modulo here somewhere, like we need a counter regardless. So yeah, we need a counter. Let's just do counter gets counter plus delta time. And then if counter greater than 3, let's try 3. We'll try 3. Then we will we need to do another check than this, but let's just try this for now. Counter is greater than 3. Then we're going to go into our checkpoint positions .x and set it to be what our current players.x is. And we're going to go into the y position and set it to be what our player's y is. So every 3 seconds, and then as long as we reset counter back to 0, we should be able to have these. So let's print up our checkpoint positions and see. Let's go into our play state, I believe, and go to here, and we will put in love.graphics print, and what we're going to be printing is the checkpoint, and we're going to say that we want to take in we might have to use inspect here, and we'd go into the scene view and the player. Actually, we might have. The scene view has the player, so we should be able to say self.player dot checkpoint. What was it called? Checkpoint positions. Yeah, checkpoint positions. Oh, wow. Okay. I spelled that very wrong. Checkpoint positions, capital P. That is just weird. Let's try it. Checkpoint positions. And we'll do the whole thing. Now, inspect will kind of take that whole table and deconstruct it for us. And then we need to give us an X and Y to render it at, which will give it 5 and 25. So let's checkpoint position 00 79 30. So it should update over time. Nice, nice, nice. So the idea is once we fall, we'll set our player's position back to this previous checkpoint. Now the issue with this is if we start falling and then come out and then fall right in, 3 seconds ago we might have been right about to fall into a hole. So it might spawn you back there. So we might need to add another check, like only save a checkpoint position if you're not currently colliding with any of the pits, so that we don't accidentally respawn into falling into a pit. So let's just try to get the respawn working first, and then we will worry about that edge case. So that's looking good. Let's it would be in what our player our player animation. Trying to think of where we would reset or do our respawn here. Our animation class has a field called times played. So if we look at times played, we can see each animation, like falling, has a times played, and we can say if the players dot animations at index falling dot times played is greater than or equal to 1, then reset the player's position to be the checkpoint positions and flush our times played to 0 so that we can ultimately reset again. So let's try that. So do we want to do this, what, in our, not in our player class, but in the map? Let's do it in our map for now at least, and we'll call it, if scene view player dot animations index falling. So if our animation class, our falling animation class times played is greater than or equal to 1, meaning we've finished falling, then let's just reset our player's X to be equal to, now we don't have our play state, okay, our checkpoint positions are in our player, okay, that makes great use here, because now we can say, okay, go ahead and set our X to be equal to our checkpoint positions X. And then we'll do the same thing for our Y. And we will put our Y checkpoint position in our player Y. And then we need to reset our times played to be equal to 0 here. So we can say gets 0. Cool. Let's see. Oh, we need to do more. We need to also reset our animation to idle hyphen concatenate to a string the player's direction. Anytime I do this much code, I'm like, it's not even, it's gonna crash. So like, why am I even getting ahead of myself? But let's see. We're gonna change the animation to idle, and then ideally we would need to subtract a heart, set our flashing to true or whatever. We didn't crash. Let's see. Wow, it almost worked. I saw it for a second. Yeah, see, I saw it for a second set its position. So if we wait 3 seconds here for our position to get set different, we spawn there, and then we come right back in the hole. Why? Let's print up the X and see what's going on there. Okay, player X. Okay, so look, player X 87.2, so we'll make sure the checkpoint gets 87.2, and then we'll see what the X does once we fall. it just didn't do it. Yeah. That's so weird. It didn't change the player's X, but like it did for a split second, but I saw the sprite move, but I didn't see the actual player's X move, which is weird. Let's just try. For now, let me just try to do this where we say, you know what? Ignore all the checkpoint mumbo jumbo and just set me equal to 0. And we'll see if that does anything. And we'll have to go to the other pit so we don't get collidable map object problems, but we'll go here and we'll try this. Wow, yeah, it goes to 0, 0, right? And then if we look at our X position, it does flash a reset there. I think it's the tween value. I think it's still tweening the value. I wonder if we hold an input if that will change. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, it's jacked up. It's jacked up. It's something to do with the tween value that it still thinks. Yeah, we need something. We need to only tween the value if, I don't know. The tween is definitely what's, well, I say that. That's just my guess. What's causing this? Yeah. Okay, so maybe if we manually decollide with the pit. Yeah, maybe if we flush all of our collisions with the pits, that might fix the problem. I really don't know though. Let's just try to set collide for all the pits to be equal to 0 and see if that fixes it. And then if that's the case, we can think of a smoother way to do it. So what we're gonna do is cycle through all of our pits in the self.pits for our map here, and we're gonna say for every pit, we're gonna go ahead and set its collide value to be equal to false so that we hopefully don't have this tween issue. So we shouldn't be tweening because we're no longer colliding. Let's try it. Still doing it. So I don't know what's causing this. We might have to... We're still in idle state. Our position does get changed for a fraction of a second. Then it gets modified here. I still think it's the tween value, because if we try to walk out, we're still being pulled because the position, because of the collision detection. So why are we moving back here? I don't get that. I really don't get that. We need to figure something out here where, like, I don't know. I don't know what we would need to do. Like, I'm just thinking if, like, we have, like, a safe value or something. You can't, I don't know. Like, you can't, we would only tween this value if you're not safe, and once you die, you become safe for a very short amount of time, so that we just avoid this issue. But that's like, I don't know what's causing the issue. Like, I don't want to just fix it. I want to kind of get at the root of what's causing it, and I'm pretty sure it's this. Let's try taking this off and see if it changes anything. Yeah, It's the tween. So, yeah, it is. We are resetting ourselves. Yeah, it does. It shows the first frame of falling right before we go over here, so that I don't like that. But I don't know, that's pretty close. I mean, we got the pulling. We might need to add a weird another variable in here that is like, yeah, safe. I don't know what else to call it, but let's try to add it and see if that adds any sort of anything to our game. See if it fixes anything. Let's go to our player and we'll have a dot safe. We'll just call it, or safe from fall. We'll call it. Okay, and it'll say we get initialized to false, so we are not safe from fall initially. But in the update, if we are safe from fall, and we don't have to worry about this just yet. Actually, no, yeah, we do. If the safe from fall is true, then we would want to wait 3 seconds and then change it. So like, it's like we need another counter. I don't know. This is so messy. Let's just say safe counter. This is mostly just to test what the heck's happening. Like, I'm not proposing this is the way I solve it. It's just trying to debug what might fix it. So if we have, if we're safe from fall, we're going to increment this safe counter. And then if the safe counter is bigger than 3, we're going to go ahead and flush it. And we're going to put our self.safe from fall to be equal to false. We're no longer safe because 3 seconds have elapsed, and we reset our counter to 0. So now if we safe from fall gets false, safe from fall gets false. Okay, so now we only tween if we are not safe from a fall. And we can say if our players safe from fall, then go ahead and tween this. And then if not safe from fall, go ahead and tween it. If we are safe from fall, it won't tween it. And then once we trigger a fall, we need to become safe from fall. So where we go right here, we need to say also scene view dot player safe from fall gets true. Let's see if that does anything. So we get pulled in, we fall. Safe counter, we didn't initialize our safe counter. So safe count. There we go. So we'll say up here where we do our counter, we need to also give us a safe counter. Okay, let's try this. Still, that's weird. It fixed it like after falling twice. What the heck, man? That's a little weird. I like that you can fight it. I like that it pulls you in and falls. That looks good, but what is going on? Something weird is going on here. This is really strange. I don't know what's going on here. Let's just see if it is... Yeah, we want to make sure... I don't get why we play the first frame of the falling animation right here. Oh, you know what? Yeah. Not greater than 1. We just want equals to 1. And then we reset it. Times played. Okay, let's see. I don't think that'll fix anything of our issues here, but it could. I don't know. Why twice? Why twice? So it does look like it is. I think the move is we'll just respawn to our last position instead of the 0, 0. And we'll just add that. Checkpoint positions. Yeah, let's take off this 0, 0. This is in our map. Okay. So let's try this. Like if we stand in the middle here, like we're gonna try to respawn right here. So we wait here till our checkpoint gets saved, we fall in, and it respawned us right there where we were, but it didn't keep us there. So I'm gonna have to figure that out. Now, let's take a look at what we've done. Yeah, we basically just reset our player's X position if we've fallen. And we are tweening the values. We saved some checkpoint positions, set a proximity fall, and yeah, we're tweening the values of our player's X with our pit's X. That's the issue that we have, is the tween. We need some more complex handling for the tween. So it like based on a state or something. So like, I don't know how to do it, but we'll figure it out. Tweening layer position to pit position, and then I'll say janky respawns. But I have to go cook dinner, so I've got to head out. But thanks everyone for hanging. I appreciate it. I had fun streaming today. I'll be back tomorrow. Maybe we'll get some more stuff done. We'll raid out to Practical NPC because we haven't raided him in a good little while. But thanks for watching. I appreciate all you guys and gals. Yeah, I'll catch you tomorrow. I post all my VODs onto YouTube if you want to see the progress. I've streamed the whole development of this whole game. But yeah, thanks for hanging, K-Tron. Peace out, dude. You have a good night.